Yeah.
All right, Marcus, we alive. Thank you so much for taking out some time.
Anytime.
Um, let's get started with All My Friends Are Dead because this movie was crazy. Let's just say how you got involved. Let's start from the beginning, real quick.
Okay. Kevin Greuter was the original director on this. Kevin, who Patrick Melton and I have collaborated with on the previous Saws and the upcoming Saw 11. And when Saw 10 went into production, that created a vacancy because All My Friends Are Dead was still in the formation stage. Kevin, and I'm grateful to Kevin, he threw my name into the hat to audition to direct it. And that worked. And so therefore I am here. That is how I became a part of it. And that was after reading Josh Sims and Jessica Seraphon's screenplay. And they like, this sucker sounds different. This is a murder mystery. This is not obvious. This has a twist I didn't see coming. This has heart. Maybe I'm terrified, but I want to jump into this and see if I can protect it.
Sure. I dig it, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, when I was watching it, I liked how the seven deadly sins were kind of brought into the film. I guess talk about that as a role in the movie. That's kind of cool.
It was a highly informative choice that they made because if you go all the way back to the lore of Seven Deadly Sins and even looking at artistic interpretations of them, in particular, and in this case, it was a piece of stained glass. The stained glass had an interpretation, but also a color associated. So from that, let's say someone's sin was to be pride, and in this case, that's the character Mona, played so damn well by Jennifer Enns, well, it was purple. So then that informed, okay, everything she wears has to have an adornment of purple. And then when the terror begins, if that character walks towards purple, uh-oh, that's danger. If green walks towards green, uh-oh, that's trouble. And if red sees any kind of red, the red's coming out, red's dead. I love, so it helped everything. And it allowed in the bubblegum world first act, where if you're setting up characters, and what I love about a murder mystery is you just have more screenplay acreage to give them layers because we want to be suspicious of them. And
Sure.
so that means you're not suspicious if you're just one note happy or one note depressed or one note sullen or one. No, you have to have everything. You almost have to feel off kilter. You need to see a lot of sides of these folks. So with the character Jade Pettyjohn, who is just a lighthouse, it was neat because she's the one that doesn't quite know these friends, and they seem to have some darkness about them. And she's like a camera observing them as they coalesce, fall apart. Are they friends? Are they frenemies? Are they both at the same time? Loved having that. And you could bounce any tone off of Jade and she would know what to do with it. This is the youngest, most experienced actor. She's in her early 20s and she's been at this for 10, 15 years. It's freaking awesome. And she acted with JoJo Siwa in School
Sure.
of Rock, the kids show. So to have them back together, they resumed a rhythm of friendship and it translated so beautifully. That's where we're super, super grateful for it. And those seven deadly sins were then there. And so then I could take the first act where we wanted to use mostly like humor, some shocks, some whatnot to get us through the character development moments as we're building these herrings. And then when it hands itself over to the horror movie aesthetics, I wanted to throw my arms back around my absolute affection for Dario Argento and Mario Bava and Inferno and Suspiria in particular, where colors are key and they come in like lightning. They are bold. They are Technicolor Matrix System bold. And that was neat because that's when the horror movie's like, we'll take it from here, bubblegum. Wham.
Yeah, I dig that, man. That's really cool. That's a good spot on for sure.
Thank you.
Um, you mentioned JoJo Siwa. I mean, how'd she get on board? How did that come about? That's a
Jessica
big
Schwartz.
difference from her.
Yep, Jessica Schwartz is gets 100% of the credit here, and she's an executive from Roundtable Entertainment. And JoJo was her concept, her contact, her idea. And for me, I was just blown away by it was just awesome. Like I knew about the reputation based in live performance, in singing, in whatnot, in reality shows. But when an absolutely capable, layered, wonderful actor shows up, who just happens to have all that as well, that's
Sure.
awesome. Like this is a true juggernaut. And I love that. Okay, we've got one more challenge for you, the heart.
Sure.
And we find heart in this moment. And she said, JoJo, it was just like, I kind of feel like I've been living in a bubble and I want out. I want to be pushed. And so this required the tears, the fears, everything in between. And it was just marvelous. I'm so grateful that Jessica Schwartz made that happen. Jojo Siwa, um, get ready for another surprise when you meet her, when you meet Colette.
That's amazing, man. I love it. So, um, you've gone from everything from Feast, which I was a huge fan of in like the early 2000s. I followed you since then.
Thank you.
So, you got Saw, you got the Collector series. What do you enjoy most about playing in this horror genre for you?
I love and Oz Perkins most recently said it best, but in a compliment to the horror movie can be the palette of many other genres and many other stimuli. It can have poetry, it can have humor, it can have boldness and creativity. And this is where I'm kind of going off of his precise quote. I like that you can, let's say you have a horror sequence, and the first movie I saw through Splayed Fingers as a kid was Argento's Suspiria,
Me too.
and it was a letterboxed VHS, which was novel at the time, but it was to protect the color as much as that VHS tape could. And in my head, at this, nascent stage, horror can be beautiful. Wow, there's no dialogue here. In fact, it's almost a confident, the goblin chanting of like the scratched voices of these witches, and you're like, this is wonderful. It's inside my head now. It's vibrating in my chest. And I was so close to the TV because I didn't want my parents to know I was still watching a movie at 2 a.m. But bless our my parents, they wouldn't bust me and send me to bed. They'd bring popcorn. This one I had I would pre-watch movies sometimes, so because I didn't want to tilt them too much into trauma if need be. Because there was that gentle handing of the baton between Friday the 13th is awesome and Friday the 13th is like, what are you doing to your kids? But anyway, sorry to digress. So horror can be every shade of the palette. It's isn't it nice that it's the sugar around the stimuli of getting to the terror, the horror, the thrill, and if it makes you lean in and drop your guard, bam, that's when it gets you.
Dig it, man. That's really cool. So we got this project is coming up now. That's super exciting. I mean, what else you got coming up? Any other involvement? Can what can you tell us?
Well, what I love is like courtesy of Kevin once more, we're collaborating with him on Saw 11.
That's
And
so exciting.
it's cool, man. And as of 24 hours ago, the collector is free again. We had some, so the collector's coming back, dark, nasty, scary as a freight train on fire, coming for your mind.
Oh, dude, you made my day with those two announcements, man. I love it.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, listen, I cannot thank you enough. This has been a pleasure. I will be spreading the word about all my friends are dead. And I appreciate the time, man. Hopefully you could chat again soon.
Absolutely. And if I could leave with one thing in this
Let's
interview,
do it. Yes.
please stay through the credits because anymore, algorithms try to bring it out to a small window or you get up from your seat. We don't stop entertaining until that last little image flickers. So please, please stay through the credits. We got a humdinger for you.
That's good to hear, man. Make sure everyone does that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, Marcus. Have a great day.
Absolutely. You too. Thank you.
All